Beating the hardest obby ever is one of the most sought after accomplishments in the obbying community. Ever since the rise of difficult obbies back in 2018 with JToH and Tiered Obbies, obbyists have been beating even harder obbies that were previously thought possible. Although, as with all difficult completions, the difficulty got pushed further and further to its absolute limit, and more difficult obbies got beaten less frequently. The last of these was Back There Benjamin by BoomSasok 7 months ago, an incredible completion by possibly the best obbyist of all time. Over these 7 months, hundreds of obbyists had attempted to beat something harder and secure their place in obbying history, and someone might have just beaten the hardest obby on Roblox. Monster is a block, who I'll just refer to as Block for the rest of this video. Block started playing obbies in July of 2022, where he began by playing JToH, a tower-based difficult obbying game. Block uploaded his first JToH video on September 3rd of 2022, where he completed a small section in an infamous JToH tower called Citadel of Void. Block got over 2,000 views from this completion, and it was clear to see that Block was a skilled obbyist and could definitely become one of the best one day. Over the next 3 months, Block continued to post JToH content, mostly progression videos of towers such as Tower of Impossible Movement, Tower of Alien Radiance, and even managing to beat a catastrophic tower called Tower of Generation Failure. On January 13th, 2023, Block beat Moonlit Cosmos, a tier 15 tiered obby. Although he had beaten a tiered obby called Phantasm before, it wasn't anything notable. By beating Moonlit Cosmos, Block had now introduced himself to the tiered obby community, and later beating obbies such as Comatose and Shinku no Naraku. It wasn't until summer of 2023 when Block seriously broke out as a big name in the obbying community, after beating Anata, which is a tier 17 obby. To put it into perspective, this obby is around 16,000 times harder than Tower of Hell. Oh, but he definitely wasn't done. Block was performing so well that many people even started putting him in the conversations of the top 3 obbyists in the world. Kekai being the 21st hardest obby ever beaten, Pyro Zenith being the 11th, and Emi Nubu being the 3rd, and Block had beaten each one of them. Block was absolutely incredible. His consistency and skill was almost unmatched. With BoomSasok being the main focus in the obby community at the time, because of the Back There Benjamin completion, only a few were genuinely paying attention to Block's rise. Even after beating tier 17 obbies such as Emi Nubu and Pyro Zenith, he still wasn't really being noticed as much as he should have been. Mint Skies, a tier 16 jank obby made by Ice and Salt. This obby is infamous for being RNG and having a lot of luck factors. Mint Skies has 5 checkpoints, therefore actually being only tier 16, even though it looks a lot harder. Block beat Mint Skies on December 21st of 2023, in the description mentioning that the obby sucks and that you shouldn't do it if you want to complete a tier 16 jank obby. This would end up being quite a funny comment. Due to Mint Skies' popularity, many people had beaten it before Block, so the only reasonable thing would be to do this. Mint Skies Hardcore, also known as Sharp Mint, is simply just Mint Skies without a single one of the 5 checkpoints that Mint Skies had. This buffed version of Men's Skies is known for being completed by an obbyist called Marcus. And if you have been in the obbying community for the past 2 to 3 years or watched my video on him, you would definitely know who Marcus is. Just to sum it up, if you're new, Marcus was basically a cheater that fooled everyone. Marcus's completion of Sharp Mint was created as a test run for the replayability script he was using, and an obbyist called Obby caught him in the act. Therefore, no one had ever actually beaten Sharp Mint. But on December 22nd, 2023, an obbyist called Speechless posted a progression video of Sharp Mint. Many thought that Speechless would actually beat it after making it all the way to the end of stage 4 in his progression run, although he ended up dropping the obby and never completed it. This is where Block comes into play. After following Speechless's progress and seeing him eventually drop the obby, this inspired Block to attempt beating it. As Block told me, this was the main reason he even started grinding it, even after saying that Men's Skies is a bad obby. After posting his first progression video, the obby community clearly believed in him, that he was going to beat it and finally accomplish that top 1 obby completion. Sharp Mint Progression 2. In only 2 days, Block had progressed all the way to the final stage, and keep in mind, without any checkpoints. Block had already made it further than Speechless had managed to. Sadly, Block failed it on the final stretch of the obby. Some of the hardest jumps thus far being these. This one is really difficult, because the angle you need to walk at is extremely precise, and it can be really RNG. This jump, according to Block, sometimes the character doesn't jump high enough to grab the ball at the end of the jump. A wedge ladder with a low roof, extremely inconsistent and resulted in many deaths for Block. And finally, this jump that is infamous for being absolute garbage to try and do. The player needs to move under a big ball and not drop, which is extremely hard to do and very inconsistent. Since Block had already beaten Men's Skies, thankfully the grind wasn't going to be as painful, and the progress Block made was incredibly fast. This is where people started doubting the true difficulty of Sharp Mint. Everyone knew it was obviously difficult, but is it really harder than back there, Benjamin? On January 25th, 2024, Block had beaten Sharp Mint. With the whole community congratulating Block, this completion was definitely one for the obbying history books. Block had livestreamed himself grinding Sharp Mint and had finally been the one to beat it. After his completion of Sharp Mint, this started getting posted in almost every obbying Discord. This comes from Block's YouTube channel, where he uses an intro of a red pill YouTuber called Anthony Spade. This completely exploded as a meme in the obbying community, and if you join an obby Discord server, you'll definitely come across this meme. The only problem arose when the Sharp Mint completion got noticed in the top obbies Discord server, which creates a list for the hardest tiered obbies ever beaten. The link to the server will be in the description of this video. Many expected Sharp Mint to place top 1 as the hardest obby ever beaten. Unfortunately, Men's Skies Hardcore ended up getting placed as the second hardest obby ever beaten, which is quite devastating for Block. Many obbyists seem to disagree by downvoting this announcement, with more than double the people not agreeing with this decision. This didn't change the rating though, as Sharp Mint is still placed top 2. The rise of Block is truly fascinating, from struggling with Tower of Champions Road 1 year ago to now beating one of the hardest obbies on Roblox. If you want to follow Block in his journey to beat the top 1 obby, I'll have linked his YouTube channel in the description where you can watch his occasional grind streams. Thanks for watching, and also thank you for 1000 subscribers.